Hi, I'm Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I'm here with Stephen Nixdorf. And Stephen works with us here at the Missouri Star Quilt Company, and he makes bags. He's a great sewer, and he makes a lot of awesome purses and bags. So when we finished with this quilt behind us, which if you want to know how to make, you can see it in the description below. But when we finished with this, we had all these leftover Dresdens. Like, see, this is just a straight Dresden. And Stephen saw those, and his brain exploded. And he made this bag. So Stephen is going to show us today how to do this bag. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you, Jenny.
We're so formal. So first, actually, let's show him actually how we cut a Dresden, because we've got this Dresden tool, and we had leftovers, but you may want to start this you're on your own without, you may not have any extras, but if you do, this is such a great project. So we're just going to cut this, and you can cut out of a layer cake square. You can get like 3 of these. So Stephen is the fabric. This fabric is, what is this called again, Stephen? Citron gray.
Pastel pops.
I think it's is it Michael Miller?
Yes.
I think it's Michael Miller. So they have 2 colorways in this fabric, and one of them is this gray, and then there's this purple. And since he already made this fabulous bag, look how cute this is. Since he already made this fabulous bag out of the citron, we're going to use the other side of the line. So Stephen, it's all yours. Tell us what to do. How do we start this?
What you're going to need to make this is 22 of the Dresden cutouts, 10 for each side, 10 for each front and back, and then 1 for each side.
Then what about your lining fabric? How much will you need of that?
You'll need about 3/4 of a yard. That way you can get both your lining panels out of it and 4.5-inch strips for your handles.
Awesome. And then what is this white stuff here?
That is interfacing. It's woven fusible interfacing made by Pellon.
And how much do you need of that?
We need about 2 yards to line both the
because you're lining the inside and the outside. Yes. Oh, that's really cool. It makes the bag just feels really cool and sturdy.
Yeah, it's great for a durable bag that you can carry every day.
All right, so let's make one of these front panels. How do we do this?
First, you're going to you're going to choose one of your Dresdens and put it right in the middle.
And it's the one that's going to go pointing down.
Pointing down. And then you're going to sew 4 onto each side of that one.
And they point up?
Right.
So
that way it gives it a nice curved look.
So why don't you hand me a couple and I'll start sewing some of those together for you.
Okay.
I will be your sewer.
I've got them kind of arranged in an order for the other panel that I've got here.
Do you like them to be matching side to side?
On this one, I think we're going to match it because I think it'll be kind of off shape, and if not,
it'll look funny. All right, so did you sew these 2 by 2, or do you just keep sewing them all together until they're all done?
Just sew them.
You just keep sewing them on?
Yes.
All right.
That one can go onto the green.
All right.
Which is, I think it's going to be backwards.
It won't matter.
Okay.
Nobody looks at the front and the back of their purse at the same time. I'm just here to tell you.
Okay. Well, I don't carry one. I just try and make them the best I can.
There you go. Maybe you should get into man bags. Maybe you should think about that,
I thought about it, but they all just look so girly. So I just go all out with the purple and pinks and make them really girly.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so these are pointing up. So now I have this half piece. So we've taken one Dresden and cut it in half then?
Right, cut it in half, and it's also going to point down.
It's going to point down.
And it's just going to go right to the edge. And whenever it's time to attach the front and the back panels, it'll make a nice side piece.
Oh, it'll make a whole one. Oh, very cool. All right, so let me get these, and then...
It's so nice to have Jenny sewing for me.
Wow. Okay, so I finished sewing these together. I have 4 pointing up and a half one pointing down. And then, do you have any trick for ironing?
Yeah, what I do is I start in the middle and then press my seams out on this bag. That way the Dresdens at the top won't overlap each other and make kind of a bulky.
So we'll just
start
do
from
that.
the middle, and so
Just lay them all over to the side.
right, and then we'll sew it onto our centerpiece, and it'll make our next panel.
And do you flip this over then to make sure that none of these have like little folds in them and stuff?
Yes, ma'am. And then it gives it a nice crisp look. Just to
Did y'all like that? Yes, ma'am, he said.
My mama raised me right.
There you go. All right, so now we have to attach this.
Yes, and it'll attach just like that.
Oh, okay. So then just to recap, we have the one pointing down, 4 pointing up, and then the outside one again is pointing down. So
It's just a half of one on each side.
you want me to just to go sew this on? All right.
The next thing we're gonna do is attach the interfacing, and the easiest way to do this, it comes in a about 20 inch wide spread. So you just lay your panel right on top of the interfacing and press it right down.
And trim it out.
Yes.
So here, let me, before you start this, so this interfacing has a bumpy side, and the bumpy side is what goes next to the fabric. So when you actually put this down, you just lay this onto your piece, and then this front piece here becomes your pattern.
Right.
Okay, awesome. So then you just iron it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And he's got one already done here. Speedy him. And do you have to like hold it for a long time or anything?
You just want to make sure you have plenty of steam on the interfacing and make sure it all gets hot because it is heat activated.
Oh, okay.
I like to turn it over and
Hit both
measure on it.
sides.
Yes. Iron on the front and the back side.
All right.
All right.
So now what do we do?
Now that you have both panels, what you're going to want to do is make your lining panel. And you're going to use this as your template or your pattern piece to make the lining.
Okay.
So you can pick a coordinating print or a solid or whatever kind of fabric you want to go on the inside. And you're just going to lay this onto the fabric and cut it right out.
Okay, so you'll have 2 of these, and you've done that here, and you'll
Yes.
have 2 of these for your lining. And these are also backed with
Right.
the...
That gives the bag a really sturdy feel, and it'll last for as long as you want to use it.
Yeah.
And it gives it, you're able to wash it, and
Oh, very cool.
yeah, that way you don't have to worry about it. If it gets dirty, you can throw it in the washer and get it cleaned up.
There you go. And I actually like a dark lining for that purpose because purses too get a little
And
dirty.
I know how you ladies like to carry your makeup in there, and my wife's makeup always comes open. And so if we can wash it, then it's always better.
All right, so do we sew the 2 fronts together and the 2 backs together, or one to one, or what are we going to do?
What we're going to do next is sew the front panels together.
So
the
these 2.
Exterior ones.
And I'm just going to lay them right sides together and sew right down these sides, correct?
Down the sides and across the bottom.
All right.
Make sure you
So,
backstitch on these.
Let me move this over here so you can see it. Oh, okay, because I don't usually backstitch because I'm quilting.
That's one thing that's different than the quilting.
All right.
You want to backstitch.
I'm going to have to figure out where the backstitch button is on here. No, I got it. All right, I'm coming right down here to the bottom. Do you do the sides first, or you just go right on around?
I go straight down the bottom and
And then turn it and go?
yep.
And the back stitch. Go. Wait, I have to start, I guess. There we go. Whoo! I'm not very knowledgeable on the back stitch. All right, so now what?
Now we've got our finished main panels.
Do you trim your corners?
Yes, you do. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to make a gusset.
Oh, okay, cool.
If you can grab the finished bag that we have, we'll use it for a reference point. On this bag,
All right, so right down here.
we want to make a gusset, or the corners will be folded in and sewn across. That way it doesn't look like a big mohawk.
Which actually, when he made this, he did, you know, put the Mohawk bag on.
The Dresden hawk.
The Dresden hawk.
So what you want to do to make your,
Let me move these so the camera can get a good view.
the word gusset and the look of this might be kind of scary, but it's not that difficult of a thing to do. What I like to do is I'll sew my seams open like this and match the bottom and the side.
Uh-huh.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to measure 2 inches down on the middle and then 3 inches on each side. So it'll give it a little bit of a curve.
Oh, okay. So you're going to need a little pin for that.
Press this down.
And really, you could just stick your pin through and find the front and find the back and anchor them that way too.
That is a good way to do
All right, I think I'm gonna pin this one while you're working on that. Go ahead. Teamwork, you know. Well, we haven't really measured. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here.
Well, I have a measuring tape that you can borrow.
Okay, I'll just let you go.
Okay.
There you go.
So, do you have a pen?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
So we want to mark 2 inches this direction
Okay.
and 3 inches this way.
All right. Put a little pin right here. And I'm not pinning that all the way through because you may want to...
Let me find my 3-inch mark here.
I'm worried that this one isn't quite lined up. But do you think it is?
I think.
Yeah, it is. I think it is.
it
All
looks
right, so I'm
pretty
going to go
good.
ahead and stick these all the way through. Now, do you draw it or do you just eyeball this?
That is really up to you.
And do you come this way?
By now, I've done so many gussets that it's almost easier to eyeball it for me. But
So
sometimes I pull out an ink pen and I just draw a line, start in the middle, and then work my way to each
so
side.
it's just like a little smile then.
Right.
So it's going to go.
And this step
up to here.
also isn't so technical that if you miss it, it's not going to mess.
Nobody's going to
up.
die. All right, let me try this then. All right, so I'm going to start right here at this 3, and I'm going to take that pin out. I hope. There we go. Where's that tiny little pin cushion that was over here
Here it
somewhere?
is. It's blending in the background.
All right, and then I'm going to sew down here to the 2, and then I'm going to sew back up to the 3. There we go, and back stitch. All right. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side, right?
Yes.
So on this one, when you go ahead and pin it, let's just draw that smile so they can see
Okay.
exactly what the line's supposed to be.
All right, so we're going to take our tape measure and measure 2 inches up from the end
point.
and just draw a little line right here. And this is all on the inside of the bag.
Yeah, nobody else
So
see it.
nobody's ever going to
Okay.
notice. And we're going to go 3 inches on the side.
Okay.
And start from, I don't know if I got, I did 2 inches on that one.
No, you did 3.
Okay. And we'll start from the center and draw to the sides.
And that gives you the little smile.
Yep. And you can even draw the little
Oh, stop it.
smile.
No,
corner,
no eyes,
corner
no
of the mouth
nose.
smile there.
Okay, I'm going to sew right on this line. That's a good visual, though, to be able to see that. That's a little better. There we go. All right. So now what?
Now we're just going to,
Do we trim them?
yes, we're going to cut that right off.
Okay.
And you want to leave about a 1/4 inch of a seam allowance right here. Make sure you don't trim your threads because then it'll just fall apart.
And it'll just fall apart. You don't want to cut those. So can we turn it right side out and see what it looks like?
Yeah, let's do that. What I like to do when I turn the bag is put one arm in through the neck, and then grab onto the corner and pull it through. That way.
And then do you just like
all of this
push out the corners with your finger?
Right, and it'll give it a nice clean look.
Okay.
Because it's a lot harder to do that whenever the lining's in.
Oh, okay. I see.
And now you have your Dresden Hawk.
You can't call it that. This is the cutest. Look how cute this is. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the exact same thing to the lining, and I'm going to sew around the outside edge. We're going to mark the gussets and do it, and we'll meet you right back here. So I finished sewing these linings together. I sewed them right sides together, and we did the little gusset thing, and also I left about a 6-inch opening in the bottom here so that we can turn it. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Do we need to turn this or anything, or is it okay just like this?
We're gonna leave this with the interfacing side out.
Okay. Perfect.
Then when we put them together, that'll be perfect for that. Next thing we want to do is we want to attach some handles onto our bag so you can carry it around.
Okay.
For the handles, it's a super simple process. I took a 4.5-inch strip and cut it just like this.
So it's out of the same color as the lining.
It's the exact same color. That extra, you'll have about 6-inch strip left after you cut this out. You're just going to cut that with the width of the fabric.
So like a 40-inch long strip.
On the fold, and then you're just going to cut the fold off, and you'll have two strips.
So one 40-inch long strip that you cut in half.
Right, and then you're going to take it and you're going to fold it in half, like a hot dog. Remember that in school?
No.
Well, you have your hamburger and your hot dog folds.
Oh, okay.
You're going to fold this one like a hot dog bun.
Okay.
And press it down.
All right.
Then you want to open it back up. And you're going to fold it in and meet the fold.
Okay.
And then you're going to press that down on both sides.
Okay, so how wide was the strip again?
This is 4.5-inch wide.
Okay, so we got a 4.5-inch wide strip. We're going to fold it in half, press a line. Then we're going to fold those halves into the middle pressed line.
Yes.
And that will give us a strip that's about this wide.
Right.
And this is kind of a cool stitching on here, Stephen. What kind of stitch is this?
That's a triple stitch, and it's one of the stitches that is available on most sewing machines, and I really like it. It gives it a nice, clean look.
It really does. It's very nice.
It's my favorite kind for top stitching.
Very good.
So the last step is just to fold it back in half.
Okay.
And then press it down. Now, you're going to edge stitch on this, so you want to make sure that your sides stay together whenever you sew that down. On the tempo, the triple stitch is number 2, and so we've got our machine set to 2, and we can start sewing. I like to have my needle set right in the center. That way I can line, for this edge stitch, I can line up my fabric right to the inside of the foot.
So this stitch takes a little longer, but it's well worth the wait.
It definitely takes a little longer, and being that it's a thicker stitch, if you don't take your time with it, you will see a lot of waves. So you want to take your time. So when you finish this side, just take it around and you can sew the other side. Now that we have our 2 handles done, we're going to trim these threads up. And you're going to find the top part and you're going to attach it straight to the main part of the bag. What I like to do is put it right next to the upside down, the Dresden that's pointing down. We're going to put it right next to that one.
Okay.
And you're going to base stitch or just stitch a 1/4-inch line for that handle. We can go ahead and attach this. Make sure you don't twist up your handle so it has a nice and even straight handle. I need one more pin. Can I
There you
borrow
go.
one of your pins, ma'am?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
So can we just go ahead and put them on both sides so that we can do
Yes,
it
you
all at
can.
once? All right, excellent.
So once again, you want the top stitched side against the main panel.
I'm just going to look at this a minute because there's not really much difference.
There's not much difference.
I was looking to see if you kept saying the top side, and I was like,
It'll look really good on both sides, but when you feel it, if you can feel it, it's a little rougher on the bottom
oh,
side.
it is a little
where the
rougher. Okay,
bottom
that
is.
makes sense. That I can do.
Okay. Sometimes you got to go by feel. You can't go by sight. We'll just pin that in place. And we're going to do a 1/4 inch seam right across the top of the handles.
Just on the handles.
Yes.
All right. And this is just for placement.
Right.
And so you can take the pins out.
Yes.
All right.
It makes it a lot easier when we turn the bag.
All righty. And no, I don't need to back stitch really.
No. Because this seam is going to be encased in the top seam.
Okay. Okay, so this is the last little handle here. There we go. And they're all just tacked on.
Okay.
So now probably we need to clip all these.
Yeah, we can go ahead and trim these threads. Let me do that. Now what we're going to do is put this bag inside the lining.
All right.
So we're just going to, I like to slide my hand right into the opening and stuff her in there.
All right.
Make sure you match the gussets together. That way it'll give it a nice clean finish. And make sure your handles get inside of the,
On the right side.
yeah, in between the gusset, or in between the main and the lining. That way you have handles when you finish sewing.
And you don't catch them in the seam.
Right. And another way that you can make sure that the handles are in the right place and they're not going to get sewn all wonky in there. I like that word, by the way.
Wonky, yeah.
Is you can reach into the bottom of the lining and just give the handles a little tug until
Okay, perfect.
they're right in to where you want them. Okay.
Now we need to pin this top together.
Yes.
All right, so we start at the sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, there we go.
Like I had it twisted a little bit.
And I'm going to put just a couple on each side. There we go, and a couple on this side. This is a sacrifice for me. You know I'm not much of a pinner.
Yeah.
You like the pins though, don't you?
I do like the pins. That way I don't have to tug and try and straighten it out.
What are you,
at the
what are you
end.
saying? What are you saying?
I'm not saying.
All right, now I'm going to go sew this,
I'm
what,
just saying, I don't
half an
have
inch?
that kind of skill to straighten it out. as I go.
Whatever.
It's just not something I possess.
All right, so I'm just going to start sewing here and
And you want to do a 1/2 inch seam on this one.
okay, so we're going to make this a little bit fatter. How do you feel about sewing over pins?
Well,
Do you sew over them or do you pull them out?
I have, but I've also bent a needle or two sewing over them. So I just started pulling them out as I go.
There we go. Oh, here's a stray. There we go.
Okay.
All right, so now we have this all sewn down. Gosh, it's not perfectly straight. Is that going to matter?
No, it's not going to matter.
All right.
It will not
I
show up.
tried. Go, just turn it.
Okay, so this is the way that we.
You just pull it right through that bottom.
Yeah, it's just like
Okay.
the birth of a bag.
The birth of a bag.
Okay. And now you have the main panel and the lining panel.
And is
Once
this where
again-
we sew the linings together? I mean the little hole?
Yeah, the little hole. Now that everything's on the outside, we can sew what we'll do is we'll just
Press that
this
under.
in.
Here, let me move this so you guys can see better over here. We keep scooting that one bag around. It really is such a cute bag.
A little bit of steam going on there.
Yep. And then we just top stitch that down.
Yes. Just a nice little
Tiny
top
little
stitch.
on the edge.
Make sure you back stitch because we don't want that hole to come open.
Okay. And you'd probably really want to use matching thread, wouldn't you, if you did
Yeah.
it? Yeah, well, we're just going to do this to
I'm
show.
gonna use some white.
There we go. Alrighty, trimmed and everything.
Okay, now we're just gonna put
Open up our
the-
purse.
right and stuff the lining back inside where it belongs.
Yeah,
And
big thread on there.
once again, you can just put your hand right in there and line up your gussets together.
Look how cute this is.
It's amazing. And it's super simple.
Yeah.
Easy. I love the Dresden cutout. Okay. And then what I like to do is just press this down. You can top stitch with that triple stitch if you want to give it a more finished look, or you can,
Just straight top stitch it even.
yeah.
Where's those little scissors?
We got some straggler threads.
We do have few stragglers. All right, so we want to just top stitch that down so we can just show the whole finished product.
Most sure.
Okay, so I'm starting on the side of the bag and I'm just going to top stitch around it. You want to make sure that your handles are pulled straight up. This will also help anchor the handles, won't it?
Yes.
And I'm just going to do a straight top stitch around here. And are we doing this any certain size? I'm just kind of going along at a.
I just do about 1/8 of an inch.
Oh, okay. I think
About
mine.
the same as what
I was going to
use
say
on
mine's
handles.
like a skinny quarter.
It's all up to preference on this.
Yeah, how you want it.
Because it's your bag, you want to make it look like how you want it.
That's right.
Like.
And I am almost done here. And we're going to back stitch. There we go. And that back stitch is on the side, so it won't show very much. Alrighty. That looks pretty dang good.
I'm glad you love it.
I do love it.
Let's go ahead and
Well, I love not wasting, you know. I love
Yeah.
that when there's like a pile of blades left over and we didn't, you know, I mean, normally what do you do with them? And you've come up with this awesome project.
yeah,
so
instead
that-
of having to stuff them in a drawer somewhere,
Yeah.
you can make up a bag that matches your quilt, and it's just
perfect. So take a look at that. And look, it goes perfect with my sweater even.
it is.
It's awesome. Stephen, thank you so much for showing us
Well,
this.
thanks for having me.
Well, we have you all the time. You're here with us. You're stuck with us. You're a keeper.
Well, I like being here too.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Dresden Blade bag. The Dresden Blade bag, is that right?
I like the Dresden Hawk.
So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Dresden Blade, or as Stephen would say, the Dresden Hawk, from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. A big bottleneck, but it all works through, doesn't it?
Yes. I'm glad you get to see
Now,
this part.
let me just ask you one little question while I'm almost done with this. Then how do we attach the handles?
The handles go on before you sew the bag shut.
All of a sudden I'm thinking,
Probably go back and do that.